Well, let's try and figure out where we're at. So, you've taken the investigation to the Green, and you had an initial conversation with, you know, someone who kind of like acted as local neighbourhood watch, a man in his, a man whose gut was nearly as pronounced as his BO, and Sister Margot managed to persuade him that you were there with the best intentions, and he told you that he thought you were basically too late, but told you where the house of the known thief, whom you have the identity for, was located. So you headed over to see if you could find out what had happened to Ella Carran. Some time was spent also having a peer into the rear of this guy's house and establishing that he's not an integral part of this situation. He is just someone on the outskirts of the neighbourhood who likes to try and keep the neighbourhood safe. And in the Green, it's clear that, you know, everybody's on their uppers, from the burnt out vehicle that you found in his backyard to the fact that when you drove your impressive sports car DeLorean, the SWAT van, into the Green, that got everybody's attention, and this quiet, sleepy neighbourhood woke up, and they paid attention to you arriving. You found what's clearly the home of your art thieves, and uncovered a grisly scene of five bodies, and started investigating, determined from the tactical skills of Reyla that the assailants numbered 3 and were incredibly efficient and professional, and also determined that they have a unique martial signature that you had not come across before. The medical skills of Jula came very much in handy. Looking at the wounds of these victims, you determined they were all practically identical, so the same weapons had been used. A knife of most unusual form. But we had a complication. The complication was I forgot to hit record for all of that. And that's why I'm recapping.
No, if I give you 2 threat,
if you give me 2 threat, I will find the recording on my hard drive.
Yeah.
I wish. Unfortunately not. No.
Have you tried rolling for it? Because maybe... I'm just saying.
I wish that would
work. With a good enough skill roll, I'm just saying maybe you could find it. I don't know.
Like spontaneously.
I'm sorry.
Recover.
That's so I know that's awful. I know those feelings.
So we take you back into, you know, investigating the house where the thieves were holed up, a small 2-room apartment, where, you know, they have been assaulted and killed, but only about 20 minutes ago. Possibly that explains why the guy was on high alert with his dog and everyone was keeping such a low profile, and it seemed so quiet.
Just here, damn it.
Yeah.
Just missed him.
Now, I spent absolutely no thinking time on that complication, so I'm back to square one with that. I think you're realising, Jula, that you need in order to get the most, what you realise is, in order to get the most out of analysing these wounds, you need some forensic equipment that you don't have on hand. in order to get more details out about these wounds, you think?
Okay.
Except with these 2 points of momentum, you find your pocket forensic analyzer. No, I don't know. I'm just.
Well, yeah, I'm just thinking. I've literally got a doctor's bag of medical gear, so I'm thinking, do I just?
No, I
buy
assume
off
he
that
means like. Do you mean like a proper lab? Or
Proper
something,
lab.
You know?
Yeah.
So even my doctor's bag full of gear, if I paid off the complication, I wouldn't have enough gear in my bag.
If you you can pay off the complication and give me the threat if you want. And then
that's what I'm saying. But then I would have the gear in my medical bag.
It will no longer require an entire forensic lab, and you will realise that with the equipment that we've got.
Oh, actually, I just noticed this one thing. Well, you know what I'm thinking is because we tiptoeing around the complication for quite a long time because of the binding promise. It's like ripping off the band-aid thing. I might just do it.
Yeah.
If you want to spend a shit ton of all that threat on.
Yeah. Let him dump his
sort
threat
of
into
mad
that
him out.
nonsense. Yeah.
Because us lot don't even know. I mean, maybe with an idea, but we don't know Blake's binding promise and all that. Does anyone think that's a terrible idea that I shouldn't do it? It's a group thing.
I think it's a great
idea.
idea.
I don't care about those pencil pushers back at House Obscura.
Right. Delio, then they
sign your paycheck. Easy, buddy.
Yeah, there you go. Get your 2 threat, there you go. I have that complication. Now I have got enough gear in my medical bag to figure this out, whatever.
Yeah, so on first blush you were sort of like worried that you really needed a whole forensic lab to be able to understand these wounds, because you've seen nothing like them before and you've got no direct experience of them. But perhaps things aren't quite as bad as you initially sort of like thought. Nevertheless, you need to spend some momentum to obtain information. I ain't giving it for free.
Well, that was the shit trick, wasn't it? Well, okay, so the success only got me the fact that. What did the success actually get me in the beginning?
The success got you that this highly unusual weapon is a knife, and that the 3 assailants all used the same knife, not exactly the same one, because there were some micro differences between the entry wounds that you sort of like observed, but exactly the same style of knife. And I would say that you would glean also on top of this, because I'm a kind and benevolent shout out Mapes, that this is some kind of very culturally specific ritualistic weapon.
And it happened 20 minutes ago.
And it happened 20 minutes ago.
I'd like to make an understand check as well when I get a chance. I know you're still working on that.
Yeah,
I have a focus of minutia, and I was wondering if any kind of those details might.
Yeah, I will have explained this all to you anyway.
I appreciate it. Yeah,
as it's going on.
Doing
Damn,
a
if only
running
I had
commentary.
that lab full of equipment.
Yeah. You could undercover more of it.
It's alright. I don't need the lab full of equipment. I've got my bag.
I can think of one culture right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
That would be very interested in a painting of Arrakis.
Okay.
All right, you metagamer.
Well. Yeah.
So, I'll roll for it first before I say anything. How about that?
Yeah. Let's see if the evidence stacks up with the belief.
Right? Okay. So we'll do understand, which is not my greatest.
It's a D3, but the difficulty has been reduced to a D2 because of the understanding.
And I'd love
of
to
the
spend a point of this momentum. Do you think we can spare that?
Yeah, you do it.
Great. And then we'll focus. If someone could delete that for me. Hey, I got a crit, so that's 2.
Nice, so that meets it.
I needed 2, got 2. No extra momentum, but...
building.
So with the focus of minutia,
building on the observations that have already been made by Jula. You know, narrating seems to be the single binding common trait in the B team. You know, narrating his medical findings as he observes the
I was waiting for Logan to he sees with more than eyes, but he sees. I'm waiting for I'm waiting for the grim noir narration here.
Yeah, but if I keep talking, then no one else will be able to. So,
what you both pick up on, what you confirm, Sister Margot, that has been niggling at Jula is that there should be minute particles. If it was a metal blade, there would be minute metallic particles. You know, I mean, I presume that Eula's been using his handheld equipment, and using the equivalent of almost like a portable little metal detector over the wound, and looking at the readings. What you immediately pick up on this. There's no trace of this blade. There should be minute particles of metal from where the blade entered into the body. But there aren't any.
Interesting. So it's like they were stabbed with an icicle and it melted and they just
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It seems like that, and that's baffling, and that's what you.
But it's not cold outside. It's not snowing. There's no ice. There's no. Yeah. Okay.
So you got one success out of that. You got a success out of that, and it was a crit.
Yeah, so it's 2 successes off that.
Yeah, 2 success, which is...
But no complications there. I was like,
no complications.
That's all I need is more, that threat pool is big enough, thank you.
So I would say also, that Sister Margot, as you're there investigating alongside with Jula, as he's using his equipment on these injuries, it occurs to you to say to him, why not diversify the band that detector is picking up on? You're looking for metal. Let's look for other elements.
Other foreign bodies. Anything non-organic, like anything non-organic.
Yeah.
Like, were they stabbed with a plastic knife, or were they stabbed like plasteel or something else?
Absolutely. And so, Jula, you switch your scanning device and change the frequencies so that it is looking for elements other than metallic ones in the wound. And what you pick up on is that there are very low levels of silicate in the wound. A small trace of sand.
Is it possible? Oh, can we compare this silicate to anything at the beach? You said we just came from the harbor, right? Is that where?
Yeah,
Is there anything like that there?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you've probably
I
got
just don't know
some of
how-
it on the soles of your feet right now.
On our boots, exactly. I don't think of whatever was traipsed in here.
And, you know, just taking a scraping sort of like sample of the soles of the feet and comparing, you know, and doing a reading and comparing the two to each other. You know, whilst it is the same element, you know, it has the same atomic profile, you know, that there are distinct variations, that the silicate, the possible sand that there is present in the wounds is not the local sand that you're stomping around with that's come off the beach that you've just landed in.
Okay.
Can we tell if the sand is from somewhere on Ecstasy, or is that more of a lab analysis?
That's a good point. We definitely want to pinpoint. That will tell us where the killers are from, probably.
Are they off-world or on-world?
I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Margot's ability enable you to ask more than one question?
It does.
You've got another one in the bank, I think.
With a momentum spend. If you tell me I have another one I can spend, yeah.
I think you have, because all you've determined so far is that it's not a metallic-based
It's
weapon.
not
and
metallic-based.
It's a silicate-based weapon. So you've got one in the bank there.
Okay. Then I'll ask JF's question. Like, where is this? It's tricky. It's tricky.
Pardon me.
Do any of these facts support? I'm trying to think, because they all look like they're pointing towards something. All of these facts look like they're pointing towards something. They're all related.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was your question?
Did you say, Logan, that you've got deductive analysis?
Yeah.
I sure do.
Is that a talent?
So,
No.
Is that focus?
yes.
Yeah.
So it's my question was, is the sand from off-world?
You want that
Can
one?
we determine the source? Can we determine the source of the sand?
See, you know that I want to answer truthfully and honestly here. So the answer is yes, sure. That's a really mean answer, though. You know,
It's like
off-world is also an answer.
No, too salty for ecstasy. It's more. You're like, what? What do you?
Well, the thing is, if the sand was from somewhere on Ecstasy,
Right.
then it would be.
It would match a certain profile, right?
Yes.
It would be.
doesn't-
It means somebody picked the sand up on their feet somewhere and showed up here.
Yeah.
If the sand's from off-world, that becomes interesting. In that we at least know the weapons came from off-world. And unless we know about this hit squad existing on Ecstasy, this is like a pretty specialized group.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, you've already ruled out the local supply of sand, and it's not that, and it's a significantly different profile. You know, the answer to the question is, yeah, this is not a native ecstasy-based silicate. It is an off-world source.
And frankly,
We know that. We're looking for the paintings of June, and the woman who painted all the paintings has been to June, and we're doing all this stuff. Is there any way we've got a sample in the lab of June sand or something?
You probably don't
Or
have
off the bottom of her trainers. We'll go and see the artist that was on DUNE for however long and search her washing machine filter and find some DUNE sound and compare it to that.
I mean, yeah, you wouldn't have a sample of it on record, but you would certainly have you'd certainly have access in the archives in House sort of like Obscura to the
Sounds like we need to
scientific
go there and get a
knowledge.
sample.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Also, this happened 20 minutes ago. I imagine the detective the actual detective out of all of us might be able to give us some clue of where they've gone or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure, I've
Tyres,
got things
skids on the road
I'm
or-
ready to do. I'm just waiting for the Sand
Nice.
Saga to end.
Oh, we're enjoying the Sand Saga.
Jump into action.
it's just called DUNE. You don't have to say Sand Saga. It's just
Yeah, Modifius actually
that was
got
the
the
other
license
name.
for this.
That was the other
So-
name for DUNE is Sand
That was-
Saga.
that-
That was the alternate.
That's
If they couldn't
the
get
other
IP.
company. The company that didn't get the IP released Sand Saga tabletop
Yeah.
RPG.
This week on Sand Saga.
Okay, so-
I love it.
Sister Margot's second question, we haven't been able to, get.
It comes from off.
get that. Well, that is a question we haven't.
Yeah.
So, can you ask a different question that you can get an answer to?
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. If you're not
I'd love-
satisfied with is it an off-world source, it's an off-world source. You don't know where off-world is. I mean, all the evidence is strongly pointing to one conclusion.
Logan, you want to bring us home with a conclusion?
Yeah.
No, I'm not interested in sand and silicate at all. I have other things on my mind.
What
Okay,
is
never
on
mind.
Logan's
Sorry,
mind?
we're having this. Sorry, I guess we're doing a different. We're doing a different.
Well, those clues are in the bag. We can.
Can you at
analyse
least
them
narrate
whenever.
how unimportant it is?
No, I'm not interested. Well, if they'd gone, does no one else want to do anything with this crime scene? Because I'm about to come up with a trait that's going to wreck most of it, probably.
Brilliant.
I'm just going to throw out. Do you want to go talk to the neighbor, or do you want to do? Or is that what you're talking about? Being is going to be or do you have a highly disruptive plan to go talk to the neighbor?
Well, I'll just tell you what I was going to do. I was going to say he was going to go and talk to the neighbour, but when he finds out that people are here in the last 20 minutes,
Yeah.
I was going to create one of his talents, because he's not like a fully developed character yet. And the talent's ransack. And that means you can search an area extremely quickly, but it costs threat. So therefore, it could cause a lot of problems, which is why I said it could wreck things. Because I want other
could.
people to get their chance to do their play before I do it.
It could, although you already can see that this place has been ransacked. So
Yeah,
ransack on top of some
The
ransack.
specific thing I'm looking for is tracks of these people who have been recently here and searching for them
Nice.
extremely quickly in a way that could trash the area or cause complications. Because that's what the talent does. It adds threats.
Sounds good. I like the threat. I'll take that.
Yeah.
So
Well, I just had a suggestion. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, I just want to
before we
clarify
wreck
to
the
make
scene.
sure.
Yeah.
That you were thinking, Miles, of sort of like where are the nearest sort of like exit sort of like points that if there were people trying to get off world. Yeah, I mean this is a tourist destination, ecstasy. So there are large sort of spaceports effectively, and exactly where they are. They're not in this neighbourhood for damn sure. You have to get onto the main continent to sort of like leverage those. Quick calculation tells you that if they had an ornithopter, these assailants and this thief could possibly get to the main continent in sort of like under half an hour. if they're on a boat like yours, you're looking at that they've got a couple of hours before they could really get to the nearest spaceport.
Okay.
So that's the time frame you're working in. Yeah.
An ornithopter would draw a lot of attention in this neighborhood.
Masses.
Yeah.
Also, I'm wondering if the last thing we want to do before we ransack is, Miles, do you want to check the bodies to see if there's any travel documents or IDs on them?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll be up for doing that while all the other investigating's going on.
Yeah, so, now that the bodies have been examined, sort of like medically, sort of like examined, and sort of like Jula sort of like completed that, then, you, as they finish examining each body using the scanner and then re-scanning because of Sister Margot sort of like insight, you can start doing searches of each of the bodies. I mean, you can see from their appearance and from what they're wearing, they've been caught in complete surprise. That one of them looks like they were in the middle of reading, given the proximity of a sort of a little film sort of like projector that they have close to them, which is still running. Others were eating, others were dozing and sort of like sleeping. Very inconveniently, none of them have identifying papers on them or forms of identification, but that kind of like stands to reason, given the nature of their activities. You do also find, as you're searching around the bodies and around the place, doing that cursory search, that what you do find, are in the equivalent of a laundry basket are art removalist, overalls, work sort of like overalls with the branding of the company that did the removal work. Their disguises, effectively. That's pretty much all you can come up with.
Okay. Might as well show these uniforms to the others so they don't look like we found their disguises.
That's one loose end. That's led to another.
Did we ever get a second question that did we decide that was the one we liked for the obtain information?
Should we just burn a momentum on top of that momentum to create the trait muddy ground?
Muddy ground.
Yeah, obvious footprints.
Yeah. Where's all the footprints going?
Follow their tracks out the door, and where did they go?
The ornithopter, and then the muddy ground's not that helpful, but
Guess we'd know.
Or hovercraft.
I guess what I'm trying to determine is was the painting here?
that would be hard to tell from.
I know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, I'm trying to figure out a way
I mean, it was
phrase
a
that.
12-foot thing. There'd be like drag marks on the floor or something. If it was in the
Well, they
crate
could have
or
rolled it
whatever.
up, right? If you're stealing a painting, you usually get it out of the frame and roll it.
Oh.
Is the way most art thieves
I don't know.
go about maneuvering things more mural-sized artwork.
Well,
So
sure, but then didn't they say that the painting never got into the warehouse? If it came straight from the gallery, then it was in the giant art crate. Unless somebody in the gallery got a scalpel out. I don't know, were they even on canvas?
Yeah,
somebody
there
could have done
was-
it in transit.
They were stretched canvases. It never got to the storage warehouse because what was in the storage warehouse, the crate that it was allocated to was empty. So it never got there. I mean, it doesn't take an understand test to see, sort of like looking at this scene, there's no sign of the painting, sort of like here, immediately. Whether it has been here before or rolled up, you know, that does require an understand test. It's not impossible.
Well, that's one of the parts of hyper awareness, is that I can tell things that others would not be able to notice. And the limits. So I'm happy to do another understand test.
Yeah, I think you need one because, but before the ransacking occurs. and Logan gets on the case to find out where these guys have been. What's my target? What's my difficulty here? So it would be a D3, but it is a D2.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm also, my personality trait is watchful. I would like to think that applies here, looking for specific details and observing. But I'll understand if we go for 2.
Yeah, we can take it down to a D1 with that. That's cool.
Okay. Do we think we need to spend momentum for this, or should we just more chance to buy it back?
We've got plenty, right?
Okay.
Yeah, we've got
I'll
enough.
spend a point of momentum then.
I'll assist you if you
May need it. Oof.
Wow.
1.
Okay.
I could definitely use it.
So,
It's a tough one.
So if I'm helping you to ground 1. Oh, is it understand still? Understand.
Yeah.
This again. I get 1 dice because it's an assist. I'm going to use the focus of observe. I can help. My God. Nope.
No. Okay. So, but what you came out of that was 1 success, right?
We did get 1, and it was a D1, and we got 1.
And it was a D1, so you got enough, but you don't get any more momentum, or your momentum sort of like back from that. But I think what you uncover is, you know, all of the as Miles is sort of like holding up one of the work uniforms out of the laundry basket. You think to look underneath that, and what you find is a empty container tube, which would have been ideal for carrying the painting around him, but it is empty.
You can just give this back to the Emperor and hopefully he won't check.
Yeah, no one will look. It'll be fine.
Oh, there, good news.
Good news.
Yeah.
So what is at least
Just chucking his cabinet with loads of others.
Is that the thieves had the means to move the painting around with them here. Maybe the painting was never here in this house, but it could have been in that tube at some point.
But it was intended to be here, yeah.
Right, come on, Ward.
Yeah, we will stand back and let him ransack.
Shut up.
Stand back while I ransack.
I think how it works is that when we arrive, there's 4 people go in and start investigating, and he's sort of thinking to myself, there's too many cooks and this broth is going sour. And he turns around to head for the neighbour who's giving a side eye across the street to go and interrogate him about what he saw. When he hears, what the suck doctor saying, these bodies were killed about 20 minutes ago, and it's like his priorities shift instantly. It's like, I need to find these guys, so he's going to remember that he's got the talent of ransack, which doesn't actually destroy the area. It just means you don't cover your tracks. Sorry about that. But it does mean you get 2 threats when I do understand, and it means I can like do the search in like half the time. And the way it's worded, I'm gonna have to find it again because
when you attempt
I like
to
shutting
understand
things down
test,
that I need.
to search an
In the
area.
challenge.
Yeah, it says when time is of the essence, you prioritise getting the work done over covering your tracks.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to do, and also it helps me build my character up, so it's like nearly a whole person.
They're getting that AP.
But not quite.
Okay. So this is a D3 understand. The previously generated trait that was helpful in the investigation with the wounds doesn't work for this because it's not about the unique profile of the assailants. So you've got a D3 test here, but you can, using the ransack skill, add 2 threat to reduce the difficulty of the test by 1 and bring it down to a more manageable D2 and halve the amount of time.
Yeah.
So you waste no time basically in locating the neighbour, searching the area and locating the neighbour who was giving you the hairy eyeball earlier.
No, I've like changed my priorities. So instead of going to the neighbour, I'm searching for the tracks of the assailants, like around the house.
I get you. Yep. All right. Yep.
Yeah.
So diving out of the house, you start to look around, see if you can uncover the tracks. Yeah. So we want a D2 understand in order to do this.
Can I use my trait of being House Obscura law enforcement to lower it again, or is that a stretch too far?
No, I think law enforcement, it's standard sort of like procedures, to know how to do this in a way that doesn't mess everything up and is effective. So yeah, so that takes it down to a D1.
Cool. I'll use proof as a drive, which is I must tie up loose ends. And I'll use a threat because with our luck tonight, you never know. I mean, I'll use a momentum, sorry. How many dice? Using a focus. Yeah, I'll use deductive reasoning for the
Nice.
focus. Oh, squeaked it.
Yeah. Oh, 2, come on.
So that crit gets it for you. But this was originally
Gets
a D.
a momentum back.
Yeah, but this was originally a D3 test that you reduced down, and you got a 19. But it ended up coming
Can
down.
I reduce it to a difficulty 1 if I use my
D1, yeah.
trait of being law
Yeah.
enforcement as well?
It was down to 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it
So
was
it don't-
1 for the talent, 1 for the
So I don't get to get a complication out of that. I was just hunting.
You did
for
get 2 threat though.
I did get 2 threat, and I will use them wisely. Not necessarily now, but at a juncture when I think I'm going to get the most value out of them. I'm always on the lookout on an exciting complication, though. So you start casting around, the exterior of the building, as this. As the investigation continues inside the house, and all manner of sand-based facts and knife-based data and is being extracted, you pick up on a sole footprint. The only indicator that you find that which you pin down to the assailants, because you've seen the boots of the thieves, you know what they're like, and there's plenty of them around. But you are able to find one footprint that does not match up to any of the thieves' footprints and boot prints, or you and your colleagues, because you've also got those to sort of like contend with as well. And it has some unique and interesting sort of like traits. This footprint, the style and the shape of the footwear is unusual. I mean, I imagine as a cop, you you know a lot about sort of boot prints and footprints, and you can tell the difference between work boots and leisure wear and all the appropriate sort of like cultural sort of like shoes that you get sort of like in ecstasy. But this ain't no ecstasy sort of like shoe, and it seems to confirm the off-worlder query that's been wrangling around sort of like inside.
Killer only had one shoe.
He hopped.
One leg.
He only had one. We're looking for a one-legged man.
It wasn't me. It was the one-legged man.
Good man.
Look at that.
Yeah. So you've picked up the initial
leg
print,
and a
and
wheel.
you can follow the trail. I mean, you're fighting against, all of the other thieves, sort of like boot prints, and your own boot prints when you headed to the scene. You may have driven over some vital evidence in your car.
Surely not.
Well, I was driving when we came up to this house, so we'd still be on the street.
Yeah. Still on full wheels.
We wouldn't have pulled up and done a sweet donut around the lawn.
Is there enough of a trail to like begin a pursuit, or is the trail gone cold? Is my burning question.
That is your burning question. And what did you get? You did get a crit out of that. Let's be fair. It was a crit. They got you that level of success. With the 20 minutes or so of passage of time, your entry and approach, the fact that you took a vehicle in as well is nevertheless, even if you didn't do massive amounts of donuts, has not sort of like helped. And the stealthy nature of these individuals, you do not have enough of a trail. It's gone cold.
Damn.
Going cold, like the bodies in the room. Yeah.
Sister
Now you
Margot.
got me going. Now you got me doing the noir. I love it. I'm like,
Yeah.
a narration.
Sister
That's a fun
Margot.
voice to do. Yes. Sorry, that was my deep voice. Yes.
No problem. Good, Sister Margot. Do you think that since these bodies were pretty recent, only bodies pretty recently, our friend down the street might have seen something?
Yeah,
Entirely
he was like, "You're too late." You know what I mean? If he saw people going in there, he must have seen where they went. He's been nebbing out of his porch every person that's come along.
At least if there was an ornithopter, surely you could tell us whether they took
Yeah.
that route.
Yeah.
May need to revisit the good neighborhood watch
Follow the
there.
dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if there's no way to track these,
Can I ask, is there any food in this apartment
Yes,
with the dead bodies?
there is. Yeah. Some of them were
Can I-
eating when they
Okay.
got killed.
Can I take a small bit of food that might be appropriate to feed a dog and take it with it as a
Steak on the
snackaroo
table.
over to kind of make friends with the dog when we go over to talk with them as well?
Definitely.
Okay, I kind of, put something in my hand and kind of like trying to think ahead here. And I'll step out and
Are
let...
we going for the neighbour across the road, or the original neighbour that we talked to? It was like three
Original
houses down?
neighbor, but we can split up and hit two
Yes,
different neighbors.
Steve loves it when we split up.
I love
I
you
know it,
splitting
yeah.
up. In fact, I was
What if
just
we
about
all
to
went
say...
a different way? Like all 5 of us just
Yeah.
looked for a different neighborhood.
try
Just
5
knock on
different
doors.
houses.
5 different houses, yeah.
Logan, as you're kneeling down on the ground outside the house, and you've got this perfect partial print of an off-worlder's boot, and then that's all you've got, and your heart is sinking slightly because you know that trail has run cold. You the equivalent of some form of tobacco wafting from the veranda of the neighbour who is opposite the thieves' house. You know, and you see the flare of the red end of his sort of like cigar. He's just leaning, you know, on the balcony, on the balustrade, and he's puffing on his cigar, and he's almost blowing the smoke over in your direction as he sort of like observes you.
Sweet, I'll go and talk to him. That's a gut feeling right there. Can I ask for someone to come back me up? Whoever's like nearest the back window.
Oh.
Through the window. Someone come help!
Miles will come along. I quite enjoy Logan's Rogan sets.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, sweet.
So we've got Miles and Logan having a chat with the neighbour over the road, and then it sounds like that Sister Margot and Reyla and
the misplaced name, Reyla.
Yeah, are going to head over and talk to the neighbourhood watch. Okay.
That's good.
Makes sense.
All right.
You got more of a rapport with him than we did with his dog, so.
But you try to break in the back, so you know, let's not push it. So Logan and Miles, you sort of like head over to where this guy is, you know, still sort of like puffing his cigar as the others head over to the neighbourhood watch. And he's sort of like tapping out the ashes into the sort of like street. He's gone to seed, this man, but he, you know, clearly in his youth and in his prime would have been a pretty intimidating individual. Like he must have lifted weights at some point, but the only weight he's lifting at the moment is his own guts.
Sure.
He eyes you, yeah.
Where's my amazing acronym? Logan Ward, I'm Security Specialist, House Obscura Law Enforcement, and this is Deputy Miles.
You're not going with
Let's
the
ask
hope.
you some
That
questions.
was such a good one. I love that one. The hope. The House Obscura Peace Enforcement you made joke. I was like, I was waiting for stop for
Yeah,
hope.
that one.
You're like that's great.
I don't know, the other one just appeals to me.
Fair
I can't
enough.
put my finger on it.
He looks singularly unimpressed, you know, at your credentials. Yeah. Yeah, what of it, he says. What are you doing sniffing around here? You're a bit late, aren't you? It's all
Bit late
done
for
now.
what? What's done? You, with a cigarette, tell me.
Well, you missed all the excitement. It was about half an hour ago.
Well, what did you see?
Well, what I heard was the sound of the door being taken off Ella's apartment, and then some screams, and then I saw one man running out from the side door. And he was giving chase.
Have you
to
seen Ella recently?
He was giving chase to Ella.
He was chasing Ella. So you saw Ella leave.
Yeah.
Was she carrying a massive painting while she was running?
She had a bag with her. I wouldn't say it was massive. It was slung over her shoulder.
Interesting. What about the other two?
Didn't see them.
You only saw one man?
Just the one.
Because this guy seems to be telling the truth.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's do
Him
an
with a
understand.
squint.
Yeah. Him with a squint. Yeah, go for an understand.
Ooh. Alrighty. What's the difficulty for this?
Just casually rolling a critical success. Love it.
I'll take a D2.
D2. Oh, I might keep my traits to myself in case I make things worse, actually.
Okay.
No, wouldn't a law enforcement trait apply?
Yeah, but not if he's the sort of person that hates the coppers.
But you're trying to figure out if he's telling. You're trying to figure out if he's telling the truth or not, which is something that, as a law enforcement professional, you would learn to have a good instinct about.
All right, good point. Can I lower the difficulty of my law enforcement trait?
Yep, takes it down to a D1 for sure.
Oh, sweet. I'll go with. Yeah, it's going to be truth, I think.
Yeah, makes sense. What's your truth statement, if you've got one?
I must tie up loose ends.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Hot off the press, that one.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, me too. I spent ages thinking that one.
Yeah, you just make
should
sure
I
to
use a
let stuff go,
momentum?
though. You're going to get into
Always
trouble
use a
with that.
momentum.
Well, I feel like but I feel
Yeah,
like
that's
now
what I was
at least
thinking.
I feel like at least now there's a motivation for the loose cannon. Like he's
Yeah.
There, right? Like it's not just kind of a trope. It's
Well,
He's a
I mean,
loose
the loose
cannon.
cannon
He's not
personality
just
trait
He's obsessed.
raises as well as lowers difficulty. So,
It does. Yeah.
and I'll use my focus of. Oh, does deductive reasoning count with that? I'm not so sure now.
I don't think deductive reasoning is going to help you in ascertaining whether he's being truthful. Nah. If you have something like empathy, body language, I'd go with that.
No, I've not got anything like that. I mean, I could add one for intimidation.
You
Maybe.
could, if you wanted to find a focus, this might be a good time to do that.
Alright, let's do that. I'll put intimidation.
Alright.
I might have
yeah.
to change that though if I decide I don't like it later. Woo!
Okay. Another crit. And a success. So you got 3 successes. Yeah, the sort of like hard edge, you know, of your line of interrogation. Sort of like cuts through to him. You can't see what this man, if he's lying about what he's seen and what is happening, then you can't really see what he stands to gain from it. He appears to be doing a neighbourly thing. You know, he recognises you for what you are. He may not like you, but you know, he realises that Ella's in a lot of shit here, so he needs to give you what you need to know.
And he wants us off his property, probably.
That too.
What I'd like to do is to ask him if he knows where Ella goes when shit goes down and she's in trouble. But I don't know whether to do it as like a momentum spend for extra information or whether it'd be a separate sort of test. What do
Well,
you
in
think?
DUNE we try and keep the number of rolls down, so it would be better done as a momentum gain information.
Sure. How much momentum did I get from that? It was difficulty 1, did we decide?
Difficulty
in the end?
1, yeah, that's right. So you got.
So I've got 2 back. Yeah, I'll spend 1 to ask him if he knows where she goes to ground when things go bad and she needs a safe house.
That's a great question. I actually have to look at the module.
Did it, boys? Crack this thing wide open.
we
Yeah.
pride ourselves. We pride ourselves on only looking at the module twice a session.
Yeah.
Ideally, we are so far in our side questing. Like I still have an informant's competitor to go beat up. Who wants to come?
Oh yeah.
Logan wants to come.
He sort of like leans over a little bit more, and he says this fairly quietly, you know, discreetly, because whilst he wants to help Ella, he doesn't want to be seen to be being a rat in talking to you, and he says she's got an auntie, and he says that word to make it clear that auntie is a bit of a not a blood relative.
Yeah.
That she likes to visit when she's in a tight spot, and she's over on the neighbouring island. She works in a one of those spa parlours. You know, where the folk like to go and get their waxes and mud baths and all those fancy
We'll all have to get
treatments.
massages as cover. That'll be terrible.
They'll go and get anointed with oil.
And help me out here. What would the name of this luxury spa be, do we think?
I saw a person that goes to luxury spas.
Well, you
So help me out, someone.
The Phoenix Spa. You rise from the ashes to feel better, you know, like sort of, you know.
Oh, that's exfoliation. If I have to explode into
Mud baths.
That's pretty extreme. Yeah.
Hot cupping.
hot cupping.
Saunas, hot lava rocks. How about?
We'll take the Phoenix Luxury Spa. We'll go with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, and he filters around the inside of his bathrobe, and everyone's in bathrobes in this scene. And he chucks you you know, a business card for the Phoenix
With
Luxury.
in one hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really take casual Friday very literally around here.
Very.
The fact some guy from this neighborhood just pulled a card out of his bathrobe for this spa makes me wonder how luxurious it really is.
Well, then you realize the bathrobe is also stolen from the Phoenix
From the
Luxury
spa.
Spa. He's got the
Yeah,
thing.
as he turns around,
got a
you're
logo
absolutely
on
right. You turn around and he heads back into his apartment. It's got the Phoenix Rising.
The logo on.
Everybody in the neighborhood has them because, you know, Ella's auntie
Auntie's hooked them up.
has hooked them up. Yeah. And these are all service staff. Don't forget, these are all service staff for all the luxury services. So of course he's
Yeah, the robe was his Christmas bonus.
exactly.
Yeah. You've been here.
Hey,
You've
man,
been here 20
I reckon
years.
That guy gives
Here.
a vigorous massage.
Okay. Now,
Well, that's all I've got to ask him. Did you have anything? Oh, I went pretty smooth.
I think, Deputy Miles would just be like, Deputy Miles, did you hear any vehicles, any ornithopters, anything like that, before any of this kicked off?
There's no ornithopters. I mean, you hear them sort of like occasionally, sort of like flying over, but not landing, not around here. I mean, the way the way she was headed, I think she was headed for a boat.
Got ya. Has she got a boat? Has she?
Yeah.
Okay. How fast is it?
Well, it's not a speedboat. It's not one of those luxury ones, he says, but it's you know, it goes at a fair lick, I suppose.
Okay. All right. That's all. Yeah, that's all I've got from Logan.
Good work, Deputy. Thank you for your help, sir.
Cheers.
Yeah, I
Trail's
didn't
gone
help
warm
you.
again.
I didn't help you, he says, and he heads back into his apartment and shows the logo off. Let's cut to see how the rest of you are getting on with the neighbourhood watch, where I believe Sister Margot is approaching with some meat scrounged from the thieves' house.
Something that would be
On the way over. Yeah, on the way over there, I'm going to mention, like, if this guy's afraid of repercussions, I don't necessarily blame him, given how deadly these people are.
fair enough. But
Can we offer him protection?
It doesn't look like they were being indiscriminate, though. It looks like they were. This was surgical. This was like one place and then they're gone. They're not like. I don't know.
That's a good point. We'll play it by ear.
Always the best, I think.
You've got a good relationship with him, so maybe you can kick off the conversation.
Did I manage to catch the dog's name when he called the dog in?
Oh, sure, yeah, you've got the dog's name. What's the dog's name, Shepard?
What does one call?
Phoenix!
Bloodthirst.
Everything's a bloody phoenix in this session.
The Phoenix episode. I think it's okay. So I'm of the mindset that there's like a perfect name for a dog. My wife thinks that you should always name dogs and animals should be named after people, like Kevin, or
Oh, sure.
but I don't like people names for dogs. I like names like Mr. Peanut Butter or Max or Max is like kind of one of those ones that can go either way. But like, I like food names for dog. So I will go with, let's see, something like, we'll call this dog. That's a good
Spam.
question.
You can be Spam.
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 Okay, I have to accept spam. Alright. So,
As we approach, I'll say, have a treat for you, Spam.
and I think the dog perks up. And sort of like trots over, tail wagging a bit. And you can hear the guy inside his house. But the dog trots over.
And I put my hand out and let it eat out of my hand rather than,
Yeah, absolutely.
and kind of give us scritches on, on the head, behind the ear and stuff. And it's like we just have, we'd like to pay you for your time again, if that's possible.
He sort of like edges out to the veranda, and he doesn't look overjoyed to see you again.
You'd
Now
say-
what? He says.
We'd like to leave now. We're looking for Ella. She was not at home. Do you know where she might have gone or in what direction? Did you see any vehicles? You said we missed it. Do you see where they went?
I didn't.
Any
see,
information you have could help us help her.
I didn't see where she went, but I did hear all the kerfuffle. It did set off, and he sort of looks over at his dog. It did set off the alarm bells, but I did hear a lot of noise coming from the docks. Engines firing up, so she must have taken a boat and headed off. What can I tell you?
That's more than enough. Thank you. I'm sorry to have disturbed you again.
He then sort of like leans out and said, "They're just kids. Do you know what I mean?"
And we want to make sure they're safe.
And he backs out.
We
Heads
take
back
off
into his
too.
house.
I won't continue to bother.
Excellent. So I reckon, is there anything else anyone else wants to do in this scene? Otherwise, it feels to me like you're leaving the green with what you know.
I feel like we can send the car back to House Obscura and everybody can get on the boat. Unless the boat can fit a car as a ferry.
No, I think the car might just have to go in the garage for now. Sadly. Matilda's gonna have to go home.
It doesn't have like the set recall auto drive, you know.
Well, that's what I figured we'd use, because we need to get on a boat. So unless Logan's going to drive the car home manually. Or we could always just
do it.
We could ask a goon to do it, yep. I have a whole unit of conscripts I can give random tasks to, so...
Yeah, get Blind Jim to do it.
Okay, so we need to chuck
Well,
momentum.
actually, see,
oh yeah, go on.
if we're like at the end of the scene, do I need to try and do some deductive reasoning on sand and silica? Now that there's like time.
Well,
Or...
There's no time. We're hot on the heat. You can do it once we're on the boat, maybe.
Alright, we'll do it on the next scene then, in transit.
yeah, absolutely. Okay.
We set up the murder board on the poop deck.
Right. So you set it up so that your car is taken care of, and will decay a momentum for the end of the scene, and we can move into the next scene if you're all good with that. You're pursuing Ella Carran, who is, as far as you know, the only thief who's alive, who was casing the warehouse and was tracked by one of what's the gang leader's name? Jeremy Irons. No, he wasn't Jeremy Irons. Who was
Reynolds.
that? Reynolds. Thank you. Ryan Reynolds and Jeremy. Yeah, the Reynolds brothers gang. Yeah. And you believe that she's most likely going to ground by visiting her Auntie Karen, who lives in the next island over and has a spa. The Phoenix Spa.
Is her auntie called Karen?
I'm saying nothing.
Karen.
Sharon Karen.
Sharon.
So that's us all caught up. I'm writing that down.
Sharon Karen. And Karen
Yeah.
Karen.
You are.
She has no children of her own, so she's the Baron Sharon Karen.
She's the Baroness Baron Sharon Karen.
Baron.
If we're going to go whole hog, which I'm
I
planning
don't have
to
any
do.
others.
Yeah, I've run out.
Now, scene's being. You immediately, once you determined from your inspection that the thieves were only in the house about 20 minutes or so ago, vacated the scene and have headed to headed to Miles's craft, having ordered, someone to collect your car and collect the bodies and all that. Ordered the House Obscura Team C, presumably, who just go around picking up after the mess of Team B and Team A. I like to think that Team C...
bin men.
Bin men, yeah. That's
the next group.
The next group.
Oh, we can use my conscripts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally have a game mechanic for just this occasion.
Perfect.
Oh, one thing I was going to ask about regarding that is, I have to go intimidate somebody in exchange for the information that I got about Ella Carran from the
broker
fellow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, is that something that needs to be played through, or can we just say I send my conscripts to do that?
You can have that done off camera if you want. We may get an opportunity in game depending on how this act goes, because we're in Act 3, having whistled through Act 2. I realise, and we might have some dead air time and want to have a little scene. If not, then we'll say it happens off camera. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just take it. If it happens, it happens. If we get to the end of a certain narrative where it has to happen by then, we'll just say, the conscripts did it.
Yeah. So you barrel over
useful asset, that.
Very useful asset. So you barrel over to the pontoon, where you have your vessel. What's the name of your vessel, Master Butler?
Oh, I can't remember what we came up with.
Boaty McBoatface, yay!
No, there was a lot of pun-related ones, weren't there?
Oh, dreadful puns.
Yeah.
I think you ended up going with. There was a suggestion.
Scrolling back.
There was a suggestion that I think JF came up with that you liked the sound of most.
I remember you saying you liked it, but had another idea that you preferred.
I'm looking back through the Roomy Zephyr. Is that the one that you?
That's the one that I
Nice,
recommended.
yeah. To be honest, yeah, I think that sounds good. I like the sound of that. I haven't come up with any sparks of inspiration since.
So you barrel over to the Roomy Zephyr, and set about making way, and pile into the cockpit and do all the appropriate checks that you need to, and kick the engines up and set course. I do believe, your goal here is to pursue, locate, and apprehend Ella Carran. Aware also, of course, that there are some off-world mercenary killers in the mix. To this end, I'm going to need, an appropriate role here. I'm thinking, first of all, this is a move to get your vessel underway and get yourself into a position, and start pursuing the previous vessel based on the intelligence that you have, that she's headed to a particular small island, and knowing the lay of the land, and of course being able to bring up appropriate maps on board your vessel, so you know the ballpark, but you want to make best speed, because whilst you have a tidy, fast vessel, they have at least a 20-minute lead. So, Miles Butler, we're going to need you to make a move roll. That's the skill. And
Okay.
The traits I'm going to generate for this that are relevant, I think, are pressurized 1. You're on a ticking time clock to recover all this. It's putting you under, so it's pressurized 1, which will raise the difficulty level from a D2 to a D3, unless you can leverage traits to balance that.
Are we recording?
Now, you know me, I don't bother to record for the first hour and then I make it up. Yes, mate.
We'll recap this bit in a minute.
I don't need to recap.
We'll just recap it again.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the show. Oh, we're doing it. Okay.
We're doing it.
Today?
Now.
Oh, that's right. Because, yeah, we already introed our intro. Got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No one will ever know.
They will now. Hey, go on.
So trait-wise, I've got Smuggler. So he's used to evading the law, I would have said. Maybe making fast journeys on his boat in and around these waterways, potentially.
I think that's a very fair call that someone with the experience of a smuggler would be used to being in high-pressured situations of this nature. So, yeah, that brings it back down to a D2.
Okay, perfect. And then I think that's about it in terms of difficulty-wise. Focus, he's got the focus of pilot.
Smashing, that's relevant. And then what kind of drive are you using? What's motivating you in this pursuit?
I think this pursuit's duty. This is, he's serving at the pleasure of the house. He's working for House Obscura, just trying to chase down this criminal, really.
Okay, brilliant. That all lines up. Now, you do have 4 momentum left over from the last scene. If you want to purchase another dice, you can do so with the momentum spend. Or maybe you want to be really crazy and spend some determination and get a crit. I don't know.
What do you think, guys? I'd be happy spending the momentum. Seems like quite a key. Well,
Yeah,
it's worth it. Yeah, spending one's always good when you've got the focus.
okay, I'll do it. I'll spend 1 then, Steve.
All right. I'll just shuffle that off to the side in case you bag a load of momentum. Oh, what do we get here? That looks good.
Well done, Brits.
How are we looking? Oh, nice.
Meaty.
Yeah. Okay, so you got a crit and you got 2 other successes. That's nice. So you needed 2, you got 4, and by my primitive understanding of maths, that means you have bagged. Having spent 1. How many more do I have to drag on? I've run out. My primitive maths has run out. We've topped out at 6.
No, we should only have 5. I'm sorry, I don't want to.
Yeah. No, you're right. We spent 1.
We had 4. We spent 1 down to 3. Back, Then we got 2 back. That's a total of 5.
DUNE arithmetic. How to fail at it. It's a masterclass. We have 5 momentum. Okay, yeah. So
5 momentum.
Yeah, so you zip through the launch procedure. You engage the equivalent of sat nav, and well, tell me, how are you wanting to pursue this vessel? What's your tactics here?
Well, I was thinking, as I said, these are like areas that Mars has used before. He's had to use like unknown waterways, areas that only he might know that there's enough water to get his boat across. Basically taking little shortcuts in and through these little islands, waterways that maybe someone off planet wouldn't have known.
Excellent. So you're using your local knowledge to try and gain the advantage, so to speak. I think it's at this point that I feel the need to put some clocks on the map, and just to sort of like indicate sort of progress. I think I'll just have a quick battle with the interface.
Woo clocks.
Woo clocks. Yeah, and as you weave your way, we'll see the clocks in a second, spoiler alerts, as you weave your way through these more local, more locally sort of known routes, you catch sight of out in the more pedestrian lane, so to speak, in the open water, another vessel heading on the same what's the proper nautical term, the same bearing as you, so basically has the same sort of like goal, but running sort of like parallel to where you are, and I'd like at this point to invite you to do some kind of observation test to sort of like obtaining more information about this vessel. But it looks like there's somebody else. It's not Ella Carran, your target, because she's 20 minutes ahead of you from what you gather. It's somebody else. So some kind of obtain information skill could be used, perhaps by another member of the crew, whilst
happy to help.
Miles is busy piloting. It's going to be a D.
Unless anybody has it.
D2.
Yeah, go ahead. D2. Unless anybody has any objection, I would love to use my talent hyper awareness, hopefully, to ask multiple questions about this.
Yeah, do it.
And we've got such a great track record with asking multiple questions on difficult topics. We really are.
I love the pie chart, that time clock thing. That's from Blades in the Dark.
It's a device anyone could use.
I love it. Anyone can use. Sorry,
in
I don't
any
want to drop
game.
names or anything, but I love it. I think it's definitely going to be one I involved in my game.
Are you kidding? That's clearly a Trivial Pursuit ripoff.
It is.
I'm sure I don't know what you mean. Now we gotta pay royalties to Trivial Pursuit.
That's okay. They don't live far from. They don't live far from here. They're like less than a 2-hour drive from me. The Trivial Pursuit people. They're like some of the most widely known entrepreneurs of the community where I grew up.
Yeah.
And then demand some pursuits for us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Don't trivialize that
Dune
joke.
version of Trivial Pursuit, Dune version. I want to play that. So, I would love to make an observation, to try to see what's going on. To use my my talent here to see what's going on.
Great.
So I can just spend the momentum to obtain information, or do you want a observation check? Do you want a skill test here?
Yeah, I want a skill test here. I'm going to drive you hard. The GM was driving the team hard. D2.
Is that understand test?
Yeah, I understand. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. I'll use my faith that the Sisterhood exists to guide humanity, just as I will guide them to the end of this mission, hopefully. And I will use our focus there in minutia is my focus in, and I will spend a point of momentum. We'll kind of draw that off to the side. Maybe someone can help me with that, because I can't seem to affect the screen while I'm also rolling dice. That's fun. Great. With a focus, yes. Let's see what we can do. It's a 2. I got 4.
Nice.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
And a
4
crit.
successes on a D2. Indeed.
Nice.
Indeed. So we'll earn that point back, and then with the extra point that would have been generated, I would love to obtain information about the current situation and ask 2 questions for each momentum spent. So.
Okay.
Well, you've succeeded first, so we already get
exactly. So
the preliminaries.
the
right?
preliminary, right?
I was hoping no one would notice that. But
we see it's not Ella Carran. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, that's what we get.
Okay, it's definitely not Ella Carran. It is.
It's definitely not a monkey. Right.
This is not a pleasure craft. so it's. I mean, most of the vessels in this area are either service craft, because you're coming from the green, which is an area of people employed as staff in other leisure facilities. So it's not a leisure craft, it's not a service craft. It might be a hired craft, looking at it, but this looks like quite a pokey little boat at first glance. Built for speed. So that's your Phoebe. And you can see dots of figures, as they're going over the waves, so you might be able to glean something about those piloting.
Okay. Are they... Okay. I'd love to take suggestions as far as questions go. My first question probably going to be, are they dressed like locals?
Are they dressed like locals?
Or do they appear to be locals?
Ooh, which one do you want?
That might be a better question.
Second one.
Second one.
Okay. Yeah. Do the people on this boat appear to be native to Ektazi?
I see what you've done there. They do not appear to be native Ektazians.
Okay. We get a second question for that momentum spend. Craig, I can see something brewing behind those eyes. I can see it.
I can't think I'm not in.
The detective was running dry. Sorry, I'm doing voiceover for you. I apologise.
Yeah. Don't start, it's addictive.
Despite the water, we're running dry.
It was salt water that explained it.
How about they said it's a speedboat. It's a boat built for speed.
Yeah.
Would we want to know if they know if they are aware of us at all?
Have they seen us yet?
Judging from the behaviour of the figures on board the vessel, there's absolutely no indication that they have seen you. That Miles taking the tack of using lesser known waterways, putting you parallel to them, has absolutely gained you the advantage of not being known to them.
I'll convey this information as well as quickly as I can to the team. They haven't seen us yet.
Okay, so I've established some clocks. I think I need to put one more up. I've got a clock for yourselves. I've got a clock for Ella Carran, whom you are pursuing. And now, because I kind of loathe all this pussyfooting around, I'm just going to put it out there. That you have been piecing together that it seems that these off-world interlopers, are Fremen agents. You've all got a clock, so it's a sort of it's a conflict. It's a beat the clock conflict sort of chase game that we're going into now.
Love it.
If you can fill up your clock before Ella Carran and all the Fremen agents can do, then you will meet your objective. If we pitch your objective, and you can state it in any way you want, but I'm gathering that your intent is to capture Ella Carran, catch up to her before anyone else does, before she escapes. So if you can reach your 6 requirement goal, before Ella Carran does. If she reaches hers, she escapes. That's her goal here. If the Fremen agents are able to fill up their clock before you do, then they catch up to Ella Carran. Now, so you can either rush to fill your clock up as fast as you can, and or you can do things, create traits, move assets, and or interfere with either of those two adversaries in ways that you can imagine to dial back their clocks. So if the Fremen agents start to make better progress than you, and you can think of a way to leverage traits and assets, then you can start to dial them back at the cost of your own progress, if you see what I mean. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 threat. I really feel like spending some.
Oh no.
So I want to jump the Fremen agents to be top of the initiative. So I'm going to spend some threat to do that. Having set the scene. Try to remember if you have to spend 1 or 2.
For to take initiative?
Yeah. Is it 1 or 2? I've got this tickling feeling it's 2. But I'm a meanie.
I guess it's 2, because it's 2 to keep the initiative, isn't it?
It's 2 momentum to keep it, so...
I think you're right. So I spend 2 threat. And the Fremen's on board their vessel, you know, and you can see it running parallel to you. But I imagine you're hugging the coastline, and so there's lots of smaller islets, you know, that you're passing and weaving past. At one point, you even effectively pilot your boat through a narrow channel, through a solid cave, so we would see you buzzing your way, hugging the coastline with all the dangers inherent in that, but able to catch glimpses of the Fremen water vessel. And I'm going to do a move for them. Oh God, I hope one of them's got some kind of decent move skill.
People from DUNE are well known for their ability on water,
I think I'm going to really struggle with their focuses are really not going to be their strength here.
Nobody has sea legs? Really? None of them have sea legs?
No, but they have.
I think they're distracted by seeing this amount of water around them.
Yeah, Worm Rider is not going to come in useful as a focus right now, is it? Okay. So they're going to do a move. They're going to use their duty drive. It's D2, but D3 because of the trait of being pressured. I'm looking at their traits, and they don't have anything to reduce it. So, heavens to Betsy, I'm going to spend another threat to buy them another dice, but they're going to try and get ahead, really gunning their engine. 3 dice on a D3. Well, I can't use their focus.
Whatever the opposite of a fish out of water is.
It is. Although they have got resolve as a discipline focus.
Fremen on the water is actually...
is the literal opposite of fish
we've
out of
just
water.
discovered it, yeah.
I'm going to apply their resolve focus, because I think, you know, their sense of determination, even though they are on an alien world. I got 2. I got a crit. My God, and I got 2 more successes. Oh my God! Actually, did it. I did it. They gun hard, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. So they succeed. So to meet a requirement, you usually use the value of the asset that you're using, which is their boat. It's going to give them... Now they have got a fast speedboat, but it's not a super high quality one, otherwise they'd get a bonus on top. But yeah, they start gunning after her and start making some progress in that regard. So you see them roaring off, big wash sort of like behind them as they start cutting through the waves. They did that as a bold move. A bold move would normally mean they get to move. If you succeed in a bold move, what does that mean, Sherpa? Remind me.
Move an asset.
Get to move an asset.
You move an enemy's asset one space.
I'm really trying hard to think about how that would work in this situation.
They could
Given
catch
that they
up
weren't
to Ella.
aware of us, they'd be moving one of Ella's assets, I'm guessing.
Like they could move her closer. Like you move them.
If the asset is the boat,
Yeah.
it would be like...
Yeah, I think the more literal reading here is that, Ella's boat is a little service vessel. That they are moving one step closer to catching up with her in relation to you. Yeah. So that's the end of their turn. What are you all up to? What's your vessel?
You're not going to spend more threat and keep the initiative? You're going to just run through that pool? Just be done with it?
No, I've made that mistake before. The initiative is up with Team Obscura, so...
Can we see clear what's going on? Can we see Ella Carran's boat in the further forward and then their boat in between?
Yeah, I would say you see her putting away towards, towards a small island, the island where her auntie apparently lives. In an archipelago, insert the proper pronunciation of that word there. Archipelago. In the mid distance, and as you cut along this coastline, perilously close, you can see the Fremen agents starting to pull away from you.
You get me up close, and I'll put a stick in their tire spokes, and we'll just jam up there.
Trip them over.
Now, who's being the Fremen that's not used to boats?
Okay. I have a thing that I could maybe do, really, to get us some more momentum.
Mm-hmm.
We've already got
Unless anybody's got something that they're thinking. Has anyone got something that... Right, okay. So, I would like to, look out to see if there's any other guys. Is there just this Fremen boat? The reason is I want to watch that to see if there's any other danger that she's heading towards.
Yeah,
is there someone to wait to head her off or anything like that?
Yeah, go on. So
I'm going to use that. That's an understand, is it?
Whenever you attempt a skill to detect danger, you reduce the difficulty by 2. So it would be an understand a difficulty of 3 because of the pressured one. That reduces it to a D1 without using any trait.
Right. I'm going to do understand. I guess I would use my faith. I believe in my house. Like we're all going to catch her.
Yeah, go Team Obscura.
I think it's going to happen. Yeah.
The B Team.
And I'm going to use a focus of observe because I'm looking out for like more bad guys, or if there's a little woman with a pram about to cross the river in front of her, so she's gonna like smash into it or something like
Or
that.
there's a known reef in this area that's too shallow, or there's some kind of a sandbar that we know drive them into, or something like that.
How are we doing for momentum? Can I spend one?
You've got loads.
I think we've got 5.
Yeah, you've got 5.
Okay, so I'm gonna spend one. Yes, to focus.
Alright, shove that over there.
Okay, 2 crits. Good.
Outstanding.
2 crits.
No complication.
Alright, so you spent 1, leaving you with 4. It was only
needed 1.
You only needed 1.
Yeah. Yep.
So what are you going to do with all this excess momentum?
Well, we're gonna get the 1 back that I spent, and another 1, and then, or we could spend the extra 1 that we can't bank and that 1 to make a trait.
Whilst you ponder that,
Crowded, or like an obstacle, like an something in the way,
or like our boat's
or
faster.
we could create a temporary. Yeah, we could create an asset like a supercharger on our boat, or
turbo boost button.
The ability to.
Yeah,
I'll
pour the nitro in the gas can and go.
Maybe Miles knows. Maybe Miles knows where we can get like a tail current of some kind.
Can overcharge this thing. Yeah.
Remember to bring the anchor up finally.
Oh yeah.
Been driving with the brakes on. Let me tell you, perhaps as you ponder those options,
first,
Jula, what you know about, because constantly watching and you're successful understand, means that you are aware of dangers. 2 dangers in this pursuit. One is that there is a notoriously treacherous reef between yourselves, the Fremen boat, and where Ella Carran is now. She has clearly navigated that reef successfully.
Right, cool.
But you know it's there. The other, just check, 16 you got, not relevant. Okay. The other is that there is, in the vicinity, a major shipping lane, which will have to be negotiated, that Ella still needs to negotiate, which basically runs supplies from the island archipelago that she's heading to, the mainland, and the small island that you have just left behind you. So there is a major shipping lane to be negotiated. And indeed, you're becoming aware, you can see the shapes of in the distance beyond the bobbing vessel of Ella's, large container ships hauling freight and supplies, but also, some cruise ships using that major shipping lane up ahead.
Okay. So, is there a way we can make a trait to sort of like steer the Fremen towards the reef that we know's there? A way to make put that intent into a word, which is a trait.
Oh, I'm sure there are ways.
Okay, I spend that 2 momentum, the 1 that I could bank, and that 1, and do that.
Would you like me to suggest something?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Big
Yeah.
rocks.
Thank you.
One could be simple, is that there is there is an information service that guides all official boating traffic. You could fake a signal, which would basically be a false warning of to take a certain tack to avoid a reef that actually puts them exactly
and they go into the reef. Yeah.
Into the reef. So diversionary warning message, something like that.
Fake warning. Yeah, right,
Fake
I'll
warning.
do that.
We'll do an asset. A fake warning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
So you have a temporary asset for this scene. Fake warning.
Like, a compromised GPS system. So now they're, for the scene, it's,
Yeah.
they can't rely on that.
Effectively, yeah, a bit of hacking.
Not that computers exist. We're not saying that. Sorry. No, we're not.
No. I do it with those
bit of social
wavy
hacking.
semaphore sticks. Watch out for that reef that's right in front of you. Go left.
I mean, there are electronic information-based systems that are seriously never going to require any artificial intelligence. And you manipulate and jam them in such a way as to give their GPS false readings.
Love it.
Which is going to make things more difficult for them.
Cool.
Okay. So it sounds like that was your turn, and it's to make it more difficult for them. So
You could also spend 2 momentum if you want to keep it.
yeah, what do you want to do? Do you want to keep the momentum?
And maybe have Craig drive us a little faster, like try to catch up with them or try to pass them?
Yeah.
Yeah, it could
What are you
work.
thinking? Is that...
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we need to make some ground on Ella, don't we?
All right. So team.
I don't want them to get too far ahead, right?
You want to do a move then, Craig?
Yeah.
Mr. Butler. So
And if we
this
can move
is-
boldly, we can move them back or move them into that reef.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So
Sorry, I don't mean to keep putting... I don't like to tell you what to... I'm sorry. I'll
No, suggestions are all good. I mean, I guess we'd be talking about it on the boat as well, wouldn't we? Really?
absolutely
Yeah.
plotting.
Yeah, I
your
just
plans.
want to be aware of that.
Yeah,
don't mean
that's fine.
Let me establish the difficulty level for you. Now, your smuggler offsets the pressure of the situation. But you're having to come out from your position. You may have to come out from your position. You are riding around the coast tightly. And it's tricky, it's a bit dangerous around there. So I'm going to say this is actually a D3.
Okay.
It's going to be a move skill.
Okay, what do you think we should go for, team, in terms of just pure speed, or are we kind of wanting to bait the Fremen onto that reef, or are we happy that the GPS kind of jamming has sorted that?
Let's go with. I move we just make haste for the time being. As long as we can keep up with everybody, we're doing okay.
Okay.
Do a speed, and preferably a handbrake turn.
The other thing is you're driving the boat, so you be in charge of making the boat go as fast, of keeping us in the race. The rest of us will use our turns to do other. You drive the cart. We'll be the banana peels.
Fantastic. All right. Cool. So yeah, I think Miles is just gonna get out of this archipelago and just burn it out into open water, effectively full throttle.
Yeah. So you're having to pick, the timing of, of the coastal tide, and be aware of, the local hazards. That's why it's a D3. But you bought a dice there.
Cool. So buy 1 dice, I think. Yeah.
That's pretty solid.
And then use pilot focus.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, just looking at drives. I guess I think we're still on duty.
Yeah.
I serve at the pleasure of the house.
How much momentum? Because we had 5 momentum at the end of the last.
Yeah, we've spent 2 to keep the initiative. I
And
think
then one for the
Craig
extra
spent
D20.
one to buy.
Gotcha. Okay.
Momentum, yeah.
Okay, so I'll just do the roll now.
You got this.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
Nice, nice.
Wow, that's nice. I was just thinking, you know, a D3, 3 dice. I hope your skills and drives are up to the task.
Nice.
But I mean, 3 ones. You know, your pilot skill is coming in handy here. So you get the timing absolutely perfect, reading the currents and the local geography, avoiding that, and just start cutting through very nicely. So let's progress. Yeah, so you're keeping pace with the Fremen, no problem at the moment, and of course hoping that your disinformation strategy is going to make things more challenging for them when it comes to their turn. I'm wondering, so that was a bold move, so
We can move. Yeah, we can move an enemy asset now.
you could.
Maybe we
Was
started
there
it
an ore
towards
there?
the Fremen boat,
Yeah, you
and now we
come-
can move their asset.
Yeah, you come
Yeah.
shooting out, maybe, if you like this idea. That you come shooting out from your relative position in such a way as to, drive in front of their vessel, causing them to veer off
Nice.
tactically, so that they are more likely to be heading into where you want them to be, driving them towards the reef. Of course,
That's what
they've
I'm talking
been
about.
warned off from a false location, so they're unaware that they're heading into danger.
That's what
Yeah,
we're
that's
talking
great.
about.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So the Fremen have been, Obscura have been, because you can't keep the momentum, can't keep the initiative this turn. So onto the putt boat, the camera would zoom in to Ella Carran, who's doggedly steering this fishing boat, looking behind her, but also looking ahead and seeing these massive freighter ships looming disturbingly close. I think what she's going to do is try and get to close as those ships as possible and use them as cover. Everyone must have seen James Bond scenes where he just at the last moment cuts in front of a massive ship and the enemy get made into mincemeat by the propellers, all that kind of stuff.
My favorite part of Indiana Jones, where they
Yeah.
just
Last
barely
Crusade,
makes it.
yeah.
So she's trying to.
The
Her,
tug is pushing the boats together. Love it, love it.
her goal
Yeah.
is to try and get away and evade you. So she's going to do a move. She's going to use her. She's going to do a move, but she's going to employ her battle focus of evasive action, because I think that applies well here. She has a talent called Make Haste, which she's going to deploy. They can choose to suffer an additional complication in a move test to gain an automatic success. During any conflict, they may spend 1 threat to take the first action regardless of who would otherwise act first. God, I wish I'd known about that earlier. Never mind. But I want to have her to have an automatic success. She will suffer an additional complication. I've already mentioned propellers and the threat she's putting herself under. So she's going to get an auto success out of this. They may spend threat to take the first action, so that feels like an option that she's choosing not to do here. So move. She's using power as her drive here. So she's got 2 dice. Yeah, I can just use 2 dice because it's all gravy here, I think. Oh, crit. Go, Ella, go. Right, so she got a crit and a success and an automatic success. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. But does get a complication.
And what was her difficulty?
That was, apologies, that was a D3.
So do we get to pick the complication for you now? Is that how this works?
Is an automatic success the same as an addition? Is an automatic success an additional success?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So she's definitely. I'll entertain. I'll entertain ideas for complications if you have a good one to apply to her. I've got some, but if you've got any ideas, I'll happily take them.
I assume the boat was damaged in some way, or it got a little too close to one, or now other people are aware of this chase going on.
Sharks and/or octopus.
Maybe the harbor. Ooh,
The Kraken.
the harbor.
Yeah, the Kraken. That's what I'm thinking.
From the perspective of like any good chase scene, the harbor police are now aware of something.
Yeah.
And join in.
He's more
Wait,
pressured now.
aren't we the police though?
Yeah, we call
No,
them
we're
back.
like James Bond. We're like special agents. So like the cops showing up is
Somebody
like
flash your badge, like
It's not-
wave them off.
it's like essentially like we can talk our way out of it once everybody stops. But if they stop us and Ella gets away,
Yeah.
Fair dues.
So yeah, having heard those great ideas, I think what I'm going to take is that a couple of things noticeable sort of like happen. I mean, you're probably observing through, the equivalent of field lenses, binoculars. Probably Jula, because you were doing a lot of observational work, but and you see her vessel just bob crazily for a moment and then take off at a crazy angle, heading directly towards one of these freighters, disappear worryingly out of sight, and then you see it sort of like bob up and down and then disappear behind the freighter. The freighter lets out an almighty warning blast, as it does no manoeuvring whatsoever because it can't. But then you hear on the comm channels, the freighter reporting to the Coast Guard, the equivalent of the Coast Guard, that there is a dangerous vessel taking high risks in the ship lane, and it's requesting emergency Coast Guard assistance and radioing in the appropriate location. The Coast Guard has been called. That's Ella's turn. That's a round done. Now I've got 4 threat.
Yeah. Do you want to keep the initiative?
I could.
Go first.
I could keep the
Just
initiative.
wait for a sec.
Yeah, no worries. I see. I mean, I could leverage the other part of her, make haste, spend 1 threat to take the first action, regardless of who would otherwise act first. So she's done this dangerous maneuver. Does that mean then she has to have an additional complication? Heck, I'll just spend threat the good old-fashioned way.
Okay. Then I'm going to point you back to my talent. Once per scene, when you choose to keep the initiative, you increase the cost by +2.
You slimy,
Oh, it's
tricksy,
gone next.
tricksy.
Somehow gotten.
Checkmate.
So that would be 2, but I have to spend 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
fair dues.
I can't believe you got him with the as per my previous email trick.
I'll draw your attention back to our last game.
Yeah, nevertheless, she does have the lead. Now, she's out of sight at the moment because she's behind a freighter. So she's going to deploy an asset. She's going to use stealth and move. She's using power. She's doing a subtle move.
Difficulty.
It is difficulty 3. She's going to use a trait of lawless.
Well, just before you choose to do a subtle move, can you keep the initiative
No,
a
I was gonna
third?
say that.
Yeah, so does it make more sense
You
for her
can't
to do a
keep it
bold one?
again.
Oh, fair play. It's a bold move in that case. I just chose subtle because it seemed to work with her stealthy action. But yeah, no, fair point. It's a bold move. It is a pretty ballsy move, actually. So yeah, that works better all around. So power. No extra dice. It's a D3 reduced to a D2 because he's leveraging lawless. Come on, girl. Off you go. 1. That's not good. So she fails. Okay, yeah. So what she's trying to do fails, so she doesn't get her escape advance. That's the end of her turn. So I can't adjust her. She's stuck where she is, so you've got an opportunity to catch up with her. As have the Fremen, but over to you.
I'm gonna ask if this would be applicable here.
Improvised
And if
weapon.
I might be able to find something on the good Agent Butler's book. that would be
Harpoon
helpful.
gun.
You can create a quality
can't-
0 asset that you can use in a personal or skirmish conflict.
Not sure boat race falls under this. It's kind of an improvised conflict type, so I don't know if this applies.
I kind of see this as it's an improvised sort of like conflict with a sort of skirmish type edge.
Element? Yeah.
What would you want to be doing with this improvised weapon? Do you literally want to come away with an asset that is a useful weapon? Or were you thinking a bit more esoterically than that?
I was thinking a bit more esoterically, like, are we positioned in such a way where I could throw some flotsam over the edge and thus finally force and put the final nail in the Fremen boat as far as getting it into this reef we've been maneuvering towards for a while?
Yeah, hey, I like to freestyle as much as the next person, maybe more than the next person.
Is there a chain we could throw into the motor?
Oh, that's cool.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, something like that.
It'd foul the rotor in the back, you know, just like we don't have to be
Absolutely.
beat them, we just
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, let's think about it just for a second. This is Miles's boat. Miles is a smuggler. He's going to have all kinds of things on board that vessel, you know, lying around from smuggling missions, tucked away.
yeah.
So absolutely, you can have.
Chain
Maybe.
sounds good.
Yeah, I mean,
Sounds
maybe
promising.
there is a massive, you know, chain, you know, bound on one of those big spools. God knows what it's for. Miles will tell you. But yeah, you've got a massive long length of chain, and that could be weighted and deployed, in such a way as to create an entanglement situation.
Well, actually, I remember what Craig said about the anchor, like drawing up the anchor, and I was like, wait a minute, what if he used it? We just threw the anchor at them. Okay, obviously, we'll detach it from our
It's the
boat
spare.
first, but it's the
backup
spare anchor
anchor.
that we throw into snarl their motor. And I was like, oh,
Be
Yeah, I
good.
think that could work.
That's cool.
I don't know, how far can we huck an anchor?
We'll just fling it over as we pass by them, as we're heading over to.
Just throw it onto their deck? Or
Just fling it into their propellers.
Yeah, I'd say
Don't
you're
catch
one
it.
zone away at the moment. You've gone in front of them. That's forced them to veer off and take a tangent towards the reef, unbeknownst to them. Now you could get close enough to leverage this improvised weapon, with a move asset or a physical move of the boat. Of course, that means, however, that you are moving into the zone where the reef is, which might be interesting.
Yeah. It might. So really, all I would really want is like a crate of something that isn't very expensive that floats, that we can throw in the water, that just cuts off their route out back towards us and keeps them on the track towards that reef.
Yeah.
It could be like smuggled art goods down there. They could be shouting, not the good stuff, not the good stuff, not that box.
Not the good
Get
stuff.
Yeah.
We'll
An
just
oil
use
slick.
We'll just use the box.
Yeah, as Miles's boat got an oil slick button where he presses it and oil slick comes out. And
I start
Fling match
dumping
over.
like tons of valuables out of crates, so we get like
I would absolutely allow the creation of an improvised weapon onto Miles's vessel, of effectively creating an oil slick, which if it got into the intake of the Fremen's boat would not do their engine any good.
Let's do that then.
Sounds good.
So
That's
maybe I will try to
created.
deploy,
Yeah, now you got to
Yeah.
deploy it. Yeah.
and now I will deploy it, or even I will deploy it as a subtle move.
Hmm.
Can I consider this battle?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will call this battle. Would the focus of tactics apply?
Yes.
Okay. Difficulty?
I'm going to say, I'm going to say it's a D3. Part of that is the pressure trait, which Miles doesn't have, so you might be able to lower it in some other way. And I'm just going to rewind on that zoning. I'm going to say that this is going to happen as Miles was cutting across and they start to veer off. You've got the opportunity just to direct Miles to take a particular line in another direction, take advantage of the wash and dump this oil,
Viscous mess.
this
Yes.
viscous mess, as they start to peel away into the next zone.
Excellent. Would a tactician trait deal with this pressure better?
The tactician trait,
Yeah.
yes, it would
Okay.
reduce it to a D2.
2. So let's do it. I'm going to just roll. I will spend 1 momentum. And I will be using... Power is the key to achieving anything, because we're trying to outpower the Fremen.
You are.
Three dice. The focus. Did I choose the right skill to start this off here? No, I didn't. I cancel and start all over. Okay. Battle. Power. 3 dice. Focus, yes.
Ooh, what's that?
It's a bordering on 18.
Yeah, we're
So I
a
don't
D3
think
is
I-
a 19 or 20, so you just avoid a complication.
I just dodged that. Yeah.
And 2 crits.
Means that we pass with a.
Point of momentum to spare, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. So you're giving them more trouble to deal with. So this is really not about maneuvering yourself better towards Ella, but deploying that successfully is going to delay the Fremen. I am going to knock off,
Or perhaps
the
drive them
advantage.
towards that. If they turn to avoid the oil into the reef, even
All right.
better.
You've got a choice. I'll let you make a choice. You can either have them basically lose a point of their advantage at the moment and be slowed down dealing with the oil slick, or you can have them keep where they are at the moment, but be diverted towards the reef. Which would you prefer?
What are we thinking?
Can we use the oil to make them more on fire? Is where my
That
mind's
was
going.
what I was thinking.
You have a flare gun on this boat?
I've got a las gun.
That would do.
Ooh.
I'm sure someone's got a lighter.
Because I did succeed in a subtle move, which means we do keep initiative.
I mean, if our first move is to, like, hinder the Fremen, if that's a subtle move, our second move should definitely be to catch up a little bit, I think.
Alright.
So delay or divert?
I guess delay since we're trying to catch it.
My
catch
vote
up.
would be to delay, like remove a wedge of their progress.
Yeah.
But it's just a vote. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm with that.
that's cool.
I'm comfortable with that.
what does the Council of Craigs say?
Fire. The Craigs.
Set them on
Great.
fire, yeah.
Molotov
The wheel-
cocktail in town.
Yeah.
I mean, they are, they're, you see them arresting their progress, as the oil clearly floods into their vessel is sort of like powered by, you get those impellers and the thick viscous fluid that you've dumped in, along with whatever detritus else was in those barrels that you offloaded. God knows what it was, but it is fouling their impellers and they have a rapid deceleration. There's this thick, sticky, potentially flammable liquid, sloshing all around their vessel at the moment as they work to remedy that situation. Now it's just sort of double check. It was a D3, but it was reduced to a 2, and you got 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. So did you pick up enough momentum from that?
Don't know if we did. I didn't touch the momentum. I saw some moving around.
Yeah,
I don't know if somebody else looked after it.
It's all sweet.
So is
That's fine.
that's how much we got the 2 extra
got 3.
momentum from that? Okay.
Yeah, we got 3 now.
Good. Okay. Nicely.
So
done.
I believe we
Hold the
maintain initiative.
because you did a subtle move.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. So you hold the initiative so you can pass the initiative along. Who's
To be
Who's
Logan,
got an
isn't it,
idea?
now?
yeah.
Well, isn't Logan the only one who hasn't had a turn yet?
Yeah.
You had one, Nick?
Yeah, I went first.
Oh, yeah.
Get the.
Well, I mean, you've got a
Which
golden
obstacle are we
opportunity
up to?
here. They're in the water here, with lots of flammable liquid around them.
Make history by having the first Fremen drown to death.
On fire.
Or for save them
Well,
from
I'm
To
drowning.
try and catch up a bit though, not to like continually dick over the friend.
Yeah, fair.
So,
Yeah.
Pretty.
I mean, I have got
Yeah, but
something for maybe the
taking
shipping
them out.
lane, but not so much the reef.
yeah.
But
It's-
are we up to like the shipping lane yet? Or
No,
still-
you're not. You've got the reef to get past before you get up to the shipping.
Our target,
lane
our
right
target
now.
is in the shipping lane.
Yeah.
If that affects your plan.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I have an idea for the shipping lane, but we're not there yet. So,
Nope.
well, I'd rather try and catch up with Ella Carran than try and set the Fremen on fire. So unless I can,
Yeah,
if I can
fair
put both those things into the same action, I'd do it. But is it my turn or is it still Cornrow's? Because he did a subtle move, right?
Yeah.
It means that our side keeps the initiative. I
Outside,
believe.
okay.
Yeah. Maybe you can do something to the engine.
I was thinking that.
Are you mechanically inclined at all?
No.
You don't care. You
I don't care.
like-
I'll just do whatever.
Like what happened? You know
Yeah.
what happens if I just like turn this all the way up here?
This button.
I was thinking of finding like Miles's stash of like bootleg whiskey and just pouring it in the fuel tank. See what happens. Try and speed it up. But...
I'd quite happily offer up, something like an understand skill to improvise or work out a way of increasing the speed of your boat.
Sure.
And then any subsequent move of your boat is... I mean, you are moving continuously at the moment, but if you do that successfully, then you're going to gain a wedge.
Or I might just re-flavour a bit, because I don't think he's good at engines, particularly. He's more better at putting flashy bits on the outside of the car that look pretty than like actually making it faster. So maybe he'll just work out an overly dangerous route through the reef that's a bit quicker.
Nice. Yeah,
If you do
so-
that as an understand.
Yeah, staring at the GPS, as Miles is pulling off this successful manoeuvre, you start to have a beautiful mind moment and see a potential path. Now, the question is it a good path or a bad path? Your understand test will determine.
Yeah. It's the less sensible but more flashy route.
I get you. This
High risk, high reward sort
Yeah.
of thing.
This is D3. It's D2 plus the trait of pressured situation. If you can leverage
Could
a
I-
trait to reduce it.
Could I
that's
leverage
good.
loose cannon because I'm doing
You're
something
just riding
deliberately
roughshod.
flashy?
Fuck yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, like
I'm not
I
even
feel
looking
like-
at the GPS. I'm just looking out the window and
Yeah,
working it out.
Yeah.
Pressure, like
Windscreen.
pressure.
there was too much. There was too much pressure a long time ago, and now it's just.
Yeah.
I'm too burned out to pay attention to pressure.
Yeah.
Go on. Yeah, D2 then.
So I'll do that. Okay, I'll go with understand. Yeah. I'll go with truth because I'm trying to find a path. That makes sense in my head.
Mm.
You said it was a 2, right? So I'll use and momentum to get 3 dice.
You can use a momentum. Yeah.
Focus. I've got deductive reasoning. I do need a new focus. Could I add like flashy driving on the move?
You use that a lot.
You can add a focus. You need one. So
I need one more. Yeah, I'm nearly a whole man. Using a focus.
slick piloting, slick driving,
I just put flashy driving.
flashy driving. Yeah.
There's a 3-way tango to the siren song of death. When the music stops, someone's gonna be left without a chair. It's not me.
Nice.
Wow, look at that. So 2 crits. What is it with
Well
crits
played.
today? 2 crits. Wow.
The
4
dice rolls are blue,
successes.
right? Let's see.
So that's 5. You needed 2, so you've got 3 on top. Take those
Yeah, so I
momentum.
get my 1 back plus.
Plus 2 extra. Nice.
Nicely done. Nicely. Well played.
Yeah, you are leaving them in the dust, and you know, Miles, I mean, you know these waterways like the back of your hand, and yet somehow, you know, Logan's directions, he's like replotting the nav chart. But you can see the sense in it. There's no way a sane pilot would choose to do this, but you can see that it confers the advantage that you want. You follow the guidance, and
We don't have time for sanity.
no. You are, you know, as you see the Fremen struggling behind, you cut through a part of the reef that should not be navigated successfully into the oncoming shipping lane. So that, I believe, is your turnover, because you can't retain the initiative. Yeah, you can't spend more momentum because you've already retained it. So initiative is over.
You do a bold move though.
It was a bold move, so what do you want to get out of that? Well, one of the bold move
What
is
assets are in play here? Because like the Fremen are.
they're dead in the
Kinda out of
water. They're dead in the water at the moment with a lot of oil around them. As a bold move, what's the spirit of that? The spirit of moving an asset boldly.
I think it's more like
move
to
ourselves
move
closer
them,
to Ella.
to force them to make a
Or-
bad choice. You
Mm.
know, to force someone else to make a hasty choice, something like that.
Maybe,
But yeah, we
maybe,
keep closer to
maybe
Ella.
seeing the Fremen fall dead in the water, Ella
Yeah.
has a false sense of security and reduces her desire for speed.
Yeah, I mean, the question I've got for you, Craig, really is following up on all this: is does Logan want to, you know, provoke a hasty response from the Fremen or from Ella as part of his bold move?
I think ideally it'd be from Ella, but I think from our current position, the Fremen makes more sense because they're more closer to us as a boat.
You do have they might, but seeing us and the Fremen together might give Ella a reason to not take crazy risks in the shipping lane.
Yeah, maybe if we do actually set fire to the oil and she sees like a big mushroom cloud go up behind her, she'll just think the pursuers have given up, perhaps.
I say that you can happily influence either. You can either, you know, force the Fremen into a hasty reaction as you depart, or as you enter into the shipping zone, you can give Ella pause for thought. The choice is yours.
Slow Ella down, 100%.
All right. So as you weave your way dangerously through the reef, and there might be some extra scratches on your vessel. I'm very sorry about that, Craig. You know, Miles, it'll buff out, honestly. Bit of teacup, fine. And as you steam into the shipping lane, I mean, you see this enormous freighter vessel sort of like passing by. Glance up and see Ella halfway up the vessel, clinging to a rope. She'd disembarked her little
Oh,
boat
that sneaky bitch.
and hopped onto the vessel, and you know, she is hanging in a precarious way. She spins around, this is a complication, and sees you lot, and she loses a bit of fight because she sees you getting closer to it, so she's just hanging there straining to keep herself from falling into the waters right now. Nice work. Okay. So, where are we in the turn order? I think that's all you lot done, right? So I've got Ella, who's straining to do anything at the moment.
I think the Fremen went before Ella last time, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's their turn this time. And
We get a piece of the pie.
I was just about to say, before I do that, absolutely right, let's progress that pie. Bom, 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 bom. That's it. So she's spinning around. You're closer to apprehending her. The Fremen are stalled behind.
Harbour police.
You are the harbour police, yeah.
What are the harbour police? Do we need a fourth wheel for the harbour? No.
Theoretically, we need a fourth clock, but I'm going to introduce them next turn. And I have my sleeve is filled with ideas here. But yeah, so the Fremen have been trying to free themselves from the problems that they have with this sticky affluent you've chucked their way. I'm going to give them an understand roll.
I heard affluent, and I was like, we threw a rich guy in the water.
Affluent. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. I eventually figured it out.
Boom, 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 boom. Actually, yeah. Would it be an understand? Yeah, it would be. It would be an understand. They've got to get rid of this situation. Understand. They're going to use duty. They've got 2 dice. It is a D3 situation. They've got. I have no threat. So they could do with a crit. Can I reduce the traits? Will not reduce. They're not in the right kind of circumstances to use it. They have got. They've got no focus that's going to work here. They really are in not a great situation. Okay, so I can't use the focus. I really can't see this happening. Oh my god,
What's
but I got a
the
crit.
difficulty, though?
It was D2.
Man, the
D3.
dice love us
That's
today.
it.
I don't know what's happening here. This is like the opposite of your normal roll.
Yeah,
there, Steve.
normal. I just bomb all the time. But even with a D3 and only 2 dice and a 1 for that crit, because they had no focus, they get 3 successes. They clear. They clear the viscous substance from there, pump it out somehow, or are able to get their engine working again. And I should have specified that I intended this as a subtle move to retain the momentum, retain the initiative. The other guy, the Fremen at the wheel, so to speak, is going to do a move. It's a D3. Again, it's duty.
How many guys are there?
There's 1 pilot and 2 guys on their ship. There's no focus to use. They get a complication.
20.
Yeah, so as they...
That's more like it. That's what we're talking
Hit the reef, hit the reef.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they do. They gun it. They see you moving, which gives them more added confidence. And you're the asset that you had created on top of that as well, which would raise the difficulty level even more for them, make it D3, D4. They pile with undue confidence, following the crazy route that Logan set, but without knowing the twists and turns of it. And they hammer into the reef. And that's where they are. And they ain't going anywhere at the moment, as their vessel piles and gets shredded on the reef. Well, there you go. It was all going so well. The initiative is handed over to you. Ella is still spinning on that rope.
Would it make sense for Jula to communicate by radio with the boat and try to get them to stop? Like the shipping freighter? Just throwing something out there.
That's something they could, you know, like, it's like Titanic, isn't it? Shipping freighter. It's going to take them.
Yeah, it's just even if they stop, it's going to take them 3 weeks. Yeah, and it's also like they're such a relatively slow thing compared to us that we might as well just treat them as static. Yeah, maybe we.
Craig says something about a las gun. I think we just cut the rope.
Shoot the rope. Does she have a painting in one hand?
Yeah, does she have a
24 painting? Yeah.
Just want the painting, really, don't we?
A 10-foot painting over one arm and.
Yeah, hanging on to it.
I think it's painfully obvious that she doesn't have a 10-foot long painting in her possession.
Did you say her boat was damaged? The boat that she was on?
Her boat is basically adrift.
Right.
It's not damaged. If she'd got she got a complication, but the complication was that she couldn't get up the rope. So.
Right. Okay.
But it's not damaged.
I think. Do we think we can get to her before this shipping freighter? We've got a zippy little. Miles's boat is, you know, a nippy thing.
We want to warn the shipping freighter that they've got a stowaway. Because I don't want to have to search that whole freighter.
Oh, my bad. So she's getting on to that freighter, is that what she's up to?
Yeah, she's halfway up the freighter on the rope
that.
trying to get on. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, in that case, yeah, I'll radio them and just tell them that.
Yeah.
Look
Repel
over your
borders.
port side or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, someone on the edge with a 2x4 to poke her off.
But hang on, so she's climbing up this rope. She doesn't have the painting.
No.
The painting's on the little boat, her boat. So we want the painting, right?
Well, we want her to tell us. Yeah, maybe she stashed it in a secure location, but yeah.
I don't think she would have just left it on a boat adrift.
Yeah, fair enough. She doesn't have a suspicious big, like poncho wrapped around her. That's actually a painting, no.
No. So you get a radio
Under
in.
your hat.
Have we
Yeah,
tried
I guess so.
talking to her and telling her we don't want to kill you, we want to help you? Like,
Well, that's what I mean. Are we
Let's-
close enough to be able to talk to her?
within voice communication, you know?
So you've just managed to escape the rift, and you're in the same zone as her. Yeah, I think from where you are, you're not engaged with her or anything, but you could start to communicate. A loud hailer, or the the tannoy system on the boat that you're used to operating would work.
I mean, I'm happy to try and, talk her down. But, does Sister Margot want to just, voice her down? You know what I mean?
I would love to if that was one of my abilities, which is definitely going to be one of the things I get as the next time I play a Bene Gesserit. But she does not have the voice to, let go and, just make her drop,
Okay, command. Okay. All right.
But
so...
I can use something called subtle words. If I can communicate with her, I can impart a trait on her for free.
Nice. Okay.
So if that's the idea, is when we get a chance, I want to get close enough to her and convince her that we're on her side. Trusting is what I'm going for, and hey, we can get you out of here, but we have to go now before they fix whatever's wrong with their boat.
Yeah. Or the Fremen guys catch up to you.
Or the harbor police, or whoever else is after you.
Okay.
So
well,
I would love to make a
I
communicate test if that's something that could be, if we're close enough to do so. But I don't want to jump the gun if somebody else has a plan.
I don't mind. I was just going to do the same thing, but through the megaphone or whatever. Try and chat her down, but if we could just get a bit closer and you can chat to her, that's cool.
Sure. Or I could use the megaphone, yeah.
Oh.
I'm fairly loosey-goosey here. You can choose between you as a team, who you want to be going next.
Whatever maybe try to do, maybe
I'll assist Sister Margot.
Yeah, you could do it as a combined
that way
action
we've
like
got
that.
We can both
run the
do it.
megaphone. I don't know how this works.
Yeah, press the button.
Make this work. Make this work.
Yeah.
I don't know how to make this work.
Yeah.
So we see Jula grabbing the megaphone and sort of flipping the switches, and then Margot, you're gonna do your.
I'd like to make a communicate test. If you tell me what the difficulty for this might be.
Okay. It's a pressure situation. She is dangling off the side of a massive freighter, holding on for her life with a rope. I tell you what, she'll set the difficulty because she'll do it as an opposed test.
Good
Doesn't particularly want to get captured by you people. You people. So, oh God, discipline would be a natural one to use here. I'm making all these horrible noises because it's just not her best skill. Pretty sure I've got nothing to use in the pot. Nope. But yeah, she's got no focus. This is going to be easy at the end of the day. Would that focus work? Yeah, actually, slight change of track. She's resisting by moving. As she sees you approaching your vessel, she's starting to kick off with her feet, swinging around. Trying to swing from virtually from one side of the boat around the prow to the other, out of sight. So I'm actually going to resist with her moving. So move, evasive
it's actually
action.
Impressive. Okay.
Yeah. Also, frankly, her discipline is just terrible. You've got to do what you've got to do. Take an evasive action. That was a D3, and she got a crit and a 1. So she sets the it's no D3, is it? But she sets the bar at 3.
3. Okay.
Come on,
well,
Ella.
then,
I'm rooting for her.
All right. All right. So I'll spend at least 1 point of momentum.
Yeah.
Possibly 2 more to get 4 dice. What do you think? Is that too much? We need to get 3 successes here.
This is the clutch.
I'll still assist you anyway. I'll use my turn to assist you.
Then let me hold off. Let me
anyway.
spend. Okay. Well.
And then we can make it back if we get enough successes. Whatever, we can just make it back.
All right. Well, let's try this because let's be bold. So I'll spend 3 points of momentum to get 2 extra dice. And I do have a focus. Diplomacy.
Sure. Oh!
Oh, hell yeah.
There we go.
5.
Who needs the voice?
You needed, what, 3?
Needed 3. I got 5.
So does that make the 18 a complication if it's a D3? Don't know what the level
A
is.
D2 would be
complicated.
a 19 or a 20. A D3.
Yeah. I looked at that complication rate. That's only if, like, you can raise that if that's it's not automatically, the complication range is not automatically updated to 19 or 20. Or
No, it's
18 or
guide.
Okay.
And it has to fit.
But I like it, yeah. I like that we use it. I mean, so yeah, 5 successes, enough to basically chat her down. And the trait I would like to impart on her, unless anybody else has a better idea, is trusting.
Slippery hands.
Sweaty palms.
Yeah.
Sweaty palms. And just like,
Yeah, and you
Okay,
see
cool.
what's...
So you needed 3. You got yours back, and you're spending. Oh no, you put the trait on her for free. Do you
Yeah,
still
for
want an
free.
assist or no?
please, yeah, we can use
More
some extra
momentum, the
momentum.
better.
Couldn't hurt. Yeah.
No.
I know Steve's
I'll
hoping for a
use-
complication, but I'm hoping for a success.
Okay, so I'm gonna use communicate as well, right? Because we're both like.
You can
I'm
use
like,
your
oh, I'm
own.
saying
You can
this.
do
you don't have to
any-
use the same
any way you
skill
want.
I do. You don't have to use the same skill I do. You can use whatever you think would help.
Oh,
Turn the power up on
Wow.
the megaphone.
You start
so I
playing with the
use
little sounds on it, like a
that's
little
still
alarm.
I'll use understand then to understand how the megaphone works.
So yeah, you optimize it. Turn on the stereo function, boost the gain up, flip all the right switches.
I'm going to use my justice. Everybody deserves a chance at this particular moment. Seems really
Even
relevant.
the art thief.
Yeah.
I don't know
And
if
I'm
she
gonna
feels like
use,
you're giving her a chance right now, but sure.
Oh, that's what we're talking to her about. We could have just like just shoot her. You know what I mean?
Fair play.
No, I only get 1 dice because it's an assist. Can I use a focus in charm because I'm also trying to be nice and charm her down?
Are you trying to manipulate the megaphone, or are you communicating? Because they seem to be at odds.
Okay. Well then, can I use a focus in self-control to not try and charm her and to just work the megaphone?
Self-control to in the face of all this drama, because you can see her holding onto the rope and running sort of like horizontally, and you've just come out of the reef, nearly died. There's this massive vessel in front of you that won't move. Self-control would work here to operate effectively.
Hell yeah.
Nice, and a crit.
Boom,
Nice.
2 more.
I'm sick of these crits, I tell you.
Well played.
Nice.
What can you do?
Fill up that momentum pool. Well played. Oh, nice job, Nick.
So you're imposing the trait of trusting as your voice comes out
Trusting,
perfectly
yes,
timed.
on her that she is trusting of us. Yes.
And that halts her. She was running around horizontally, if you can imagine it, using that rope to sort of rappel.
Running on the wall of the
running
ship.
on the
trying
wall
to,
of the ship. But your words are sufficient to pause her. So rather than trying to swing around the front, she does a little run and a loop and just basically stays where she is on the side closest to you,
Dangles.
dangling again, considering your words, because it's looking pretty dicey. She's got nowhere to go other than running around on this vessel or trying to get back down to her own little craft bobbing far below in the water. So the trait is imposed on her. Right, where are we in this turn order situation? It's hard to keep track of.
That was our turn for communicate. Then it was That was Ella the Fremen, I suppose. Have
Well,
they?
hold on. Was that a subtle or a
Outwardly?
bold, or was that
Yeah.
an attack? Or
It's not. It was a communicate test. It wasn't a move. I don't know. I don't know how.
okay, so it's not a move. So then, yeah.
wasn't a move.
So it's. I think it's on to Ella at this point.
Who is under the influence of the trusting
Considering
trait,
her options.
considering her options, didn't immediately sort of like leg it. Yeah. She's going to make a move. You see her starting to attempt to move down the side of the vessel, closer to the water, closer to where you are as you are heading towards running alongside the freighter vessel. This will be a D2 move. I've got nothing else to leverage. Her traits don't help, but she can use her battle focus. So she attempts to get closer
Poor
towards
Ella.
you.
Sweaty palms was a trait after all.
Her feet slip from underneath her. She loses a grip on the rope. She's been hanging there for turn after turn. And you just see her body plummet straight down and hit the water and disappear underneath the surface of the water. So she's reached her goal of getting closer to you, but not in the way that she really wanted to. That's her turn.
I guess her complication is the fact that she's plummeted into the water.
Yes, she's underwater. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. Not breathing. Complication.
Yeah.
Really complicated. On our turn, I can dive in and use Prana Bindu conditioning to basically hold my breath for however long it takes to find her. So.
Yeah, I
that's
think it's got to be everyone else's turn, though, isn't it? We've done ours.
Move skill is
I-
shit. So it's all to you guys. I just went, so it's on you.
You could do. I mean, you've got an opportunity here. You know, I'm thinking pragmatically about getting closer to her. You've seen her drop into the drink as you approach, and you do want to course correct so that you are running, you know, parallel in tandem with this freighter and not smashing into the side of it. So maybe it needs Miles to do some candy piloting, and he might need an assist.
Run her over, but
Yeah.
get closer.
Logan's got the Logan seems to be a direction guy at the moment, doesn't he? So little assist from Logan potentially.
I might just dive in anyway, because surely the sister can save me as well.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to dive in, Mars will be happy to drive you closer. Mars isn't the kind of guy to dive in, I don't think. After
That's why he's got a boat. I don't do swimming.
yeah,
So you could do it as a subtle move, retain the initiative, and then hand it over to Logan, and he could do his
Love it.
Submariner
Let's do
impression.
that.
Yeah.
yeah, that
Come
works. I'm picturing some sort of like slide into right next to where she is, obviously without running her over. So
Okay.
they can
Ooh,
dive
if
in.
you're going sideways, I'll approve, definitely.
Yeah, equivalent of a handbrake turn.
All right.
Nice.
Now this is a risky manoeuvre and a risky situation. I did have it as a D4, but because your smuggler trait is reducing the scene trait, it is a D3. Nevertheless, you've got to get 3 successes to get the right spot and not to get too close to this freighter, which just won't get out of the way.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's a move skill, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. So move, pilot focus, then duty. I serve at the pleasure of the house. I guess I'm using that a lot, but It's kind of. I
It's,
think that's
it's
it,
what's working
overdrive.
right now. That's
Yeah.
fine. And you got plenty of momentum in the bank, thankfully.
Yeah. How much? What? Should I spend one? Do you reckon, guys, or more?
Follow your heart.
One. Or
We've got it
three.
to spare. You may as well do. You need 3 successes. This is a hard test.
Yeah. So maybe spend 3 and get 2 dice.
You
Yeah.
get 2 extra dice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do
I
that.
support that plan.
I don't want to call it, but you know, when I recently played Blaze in the Dark and I spent everything to get 4 dice and then I rolled 4 ones, I'm wondering whether or not there might be a parallel situation here.
You hope.
We'll take 4 ones.
Four
Just write that
ones.
down.
4 ones
4
would be
ones,
great.
and then
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what we got.
That would be the
Imagine.
equivalent to 4 20s, just in case you were wondering.
Right.
Here we go.
Oh, didn't get my wish.
Nice. 3
Instead
ones
you
there.
get
Successes. though.
3
That's
successes.
Okay.
Needed 3, right?
Needed 3.
It is a risky
Which
situation,
means-
though.
Oh,
And
we
you got
pick
a
up a
19.
complication?
You do pick up a complication because this is a
You
high
run her
risk
over.
situation. You don't run her over, no. I like that idea, but no.
Just take off a hand.
You take off a hand.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so as you bring it in and you slew it round, this manoeuvre is going to make it more tricky for anyone who might be thinking of jumping off the boat. Because it's a speedy manoeuvre. So it will increase the difficulty rating of Logan's, if Logan's attempting his dive
Oh yeah. 100%.
by 1. Yeah. But otherwise,
He doesn't care.
successful.
He's a loose cannon.
Yeah, yeah. You're in the right spot. You are over where she is, and you've got a buffer distance between you and this freighter, and you are now running parallel with it on a trajectory that means, as long as you keep your distance, you're safe. I think at this point you would see that you're seeing. The workers, the sailors on the freighter, they're noticing all this shenanigans. There's someone leaning over the side rail, and you see one of them point off into the mid-distance, look around, and see an ornithopter flying in at pretty high velocity from the mainland in the direction of this dramatic naval scene.
Does it have colours on the side of it, the ornithopter?
I think you'd recognise it, as the ecstasy. Insert the pronunciation of your choice. Coastal Guard. For
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
Fine. Who else is near the side of the boat? In the diving area?
Anyone who wants to be, if you're meaning about allies.
Yeah, I need one person to talk at so I can finish making my character.
I mean, Sister Margot was wanting to have a chat with this woman
Wait.
as soon as she emerges.
Since
or-
Since when?
Craig, just go. And I'll save.
Since when do you need somebody else to talk to?
You misunderstand me. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking at you. I guess it must be you then. So, did I ever tell you about my ambition? All I want is to escape the city and retire. And this chick might be my ticket out of here, and then dives in the water.
Oh, is that your ambition there? Nice.
Yeah, that is my ambition, so that's done. All I need now is one talent, which I'm also going to use.
Holding
I'm
your
gonna
breath?
steal Ella's. No, I'm going to use Make Haste. That sounds
Yeah.
perfect.
Make haste. Fair dues. Yeah.
When you attempt a move test, you may choose to suffer 1 additional complication in exchange for scoring 1 automatic success.
Okay.
You said that was 1 extra success earlier, so that's really good, right?
It is an automatic success. Oh, I see what you mean. I may have made a mistake there, but I'll stick by what I said. I'm a man of honour until I get told the rules and then I change it. Yeah.
Oh, bless you. Yeah.
Okay, so now you just figured out what I meant when I asked earlier. If it
I
was
did.
an
I didn't
additional
understand
success.
earlier. I get
Yeah.
but we're sticking with it to make it fair.
Yeah.
What did you say the difficulty was?
Well, I didn't. But the difficulty is raised by this complicated fast maneuver by 1. So it's a D4. It was a D3. It's raised to a D4.
Can I leverage loose cannon again?
Yeah, in terms of sort
bananas.
of, yeah, it's, you know, any other person would think twice before doing this, and that might be their downfall. You, on the other hand, go straight for it and don't complicate your maneuver with thought. So it's
which may also be my downfall.
It could be your downfall. Don't overthink this shit. D3 it is, sir. You've leveraged.
I think you're underthinking it, but okay.
It's a matter for debate. The dice will decide.
How many momentum did we have at the end of the previous roll?
Oh. Yeah, that's a complicated one. What did you get?
I think it was 3, wasn't it? We ended up with 3.
Yeah, we've still got 3. It's in the box.
Yeah, you've got 3.
You needed 3 and you got 3.
Yeah.
So I'll get 1 automatic success and then 2 dice, and I kind of want to use all our remaining momentum because I don't want to drown, but I'll just use 1 because I'll trust in the sister to bail me out in a minute when I'm not breathing.
I can do CPR. I'm a physician.
Oh yeah, perfect.
You
Let's go with that then. Focus, let's see. I got nothing. That's funny. That's
really?
Not normal for him. Yeah, really. So that's 3 plus an automatic success. That's 4 successes.
Go on.
Before we
Nice.
change the rule back.
So you do gain a momentum.
What did you need? 3. Nice.
Fortune favors the bold here.
Fortune
Yes.
favours the thoughtless. I think
Favours-
you'll find.
It was the loose cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plunging straight in. Yeah. And as you dive underneath the surface of the crystal blue sea, it's a perfect. You see her, struggling with streams of bubbles coming out of her nose and mouth as she is recklessly exhaling because you didn't expect the underwater complication at the time. You dive down and, well, tell me how you execute this perfect rescue maneuver, please, Logan, because it is perfectly executed.
Yeah, it's just like something from Lethal Weapon, when they dive in the water and then they're just there for like 10 minutes. Like grabbing someone and slowly swimming up. So it's just like really bad action film underwater scene. But then again, there is a complication, so you can tell what that is.
He also almost drowns because of the self-narration while swimming underwater.
Yeah.
God, yes.
Yeah.
Do you get the
See what
bends
that's like my
halfway up?
heart. I don't mind him having some sort of harm. That's all good. If there's that sort of complication.
Yeah, I think you take a complication. Harm, as in damage, in some ways, is represented in the form of sort of like complications you can add to your character sheet. And
I'm ready.
yeah, we'll put this down as something like, I don't know. You've inhaled excessive amounts of water, so you're a bit waterlogged.
Waterlogged.
Waterlogged. Put the down. It's one harm, so it's nothing that can't be undone. But it does mean that all activity will suffer under that complication until you get it resolved medically.
We just ring him out.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
It's more the ingestion of water that's really the issue here.
Okay.
Not that he's
Oh,
like
man,
a
if you
drowned
click
rat.
on it, it doesn't come up.
What does?
That's a bummer. I've written one in, but when you click on it, it doesn't come into the side bit to show everyone. The dumb thing. I wrote.
You can't.
Oh.
It's got a button, but it doesn't do anything when you click on it. It's very
Ooh.
unsatisfying.
Well, we'll get them to fix that.
I put waterlogged, inhaled too much water, has an even deeper, huskier voice, and has trouble breathing.
Nice.
No, you can talk like this more often.
I like to see. I like the way that you've turned it into an advantage to be sexier.
Yeah.
It's quite Captain Kirk-esque. You know. Have you got your shirt off as well at the same time?
Yeah.
No, he's still wearing his big coat, of course, because it's action scene underwater scene. So, it's called kind of the same clothes you went down in.
Okay, so as you bob to the surface, everyone with their eyes peeled to see what has happened and whether or not Ella has been rescued. I mean, she too herself has taken on board more water than she anticipated, but you both bob to the surface, rise to the surface, gasping for air at this point, as the coastal guard protectorate ornithopter sort of like sweeps over the top of you and the freighter and is doing a circuit and circling back.